Would you rather swim with sharks unprotected, no cage, 10 minutes, just 10 minutes, or spend an hour in a train car during the summer, super muggy with just like the city odor, just like weighted inside?
Well, it sounds like both would be unpredictable, right?
Yeah.
I would vote sharks.
Okay.
Solid choice.
And you,
What about
Jen?
guys?
I mean, one, I have a chance of dying.
Mhm.
So that's I mean, I think I have a chance of dying with sharks. I don't know.
Not really. They're just interested. And if you stay on the top, then you're seen as the predator. I know way too much about sharks because of this experience, by the way.
That's
you're
amazing.
seen as like the predator. And if you're like flopping around, then they think you're prey. But if you're just like floating like this, then they're gonna leave you alone.
I don't know that I could just float like that if I was around sharks.
Seeing as I learned how to swim in a hotel pool and never took swimming lessons, I'd be doggy paddling and I would die.
Yeah. I don't know. An hour is a really long time though in that kind of situation of the subway.
Yeah.
Whew.
I feel like that throughout this next hour or so, many more would you rather.
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to them.
Let's make that the theme.
I'm gonna vote subway. Because it's the thing I know instead of the unknown. Yeah. Plus, I don't think I would die on the subway. I mean, I might want to, but I don't think I would.
Fair.
Matt, what about you?
I'm pretty sure I've done the subway. I think I've been on the subway.
Yeah.
I've definitely been on the subway, not with that specific situation, but I baseball slid into someone else's puddle of vomit and then had it on me and had to do 2 trains.
No.
And the thing is, I didn't know until I was on the second train, and I'm like, "Why does my leg feel wet?" And what? No, yeah, it was bad. And I knew I still had a trek. Yeah.
Oh no!
So like the subway, you can hope for no whammy, but I think I'll probably take the subway.
You've like already lived through this option.
Man, yeah.
Oh yeah, it was bad. Okay. It was really bad.
And Dan, you asked the question.
Yeah, no, but I think I would take the subway route only because I like to think of myself as morsel worthy. So I feel like a shark, shark sees me, it's like yum. Like it's just I think it's a
rare delicacy.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Going for it.
So
there's not many Dans in the ocean.
Right.
Right. If you see that Wagyu beef, you don't say no to it. You go for it, right?
Grade A.
Yeah, let's just go.
Yeah.
Shark looks at me and goes, "He probably tastes like chicken." The other shark goes, "What's the chicken?"
They look at me and they're like, "I've had better." Pass. What a way to start the show. Okay, I have to start this off by saying that I was listening. I think it was the Clean Your Room Music Monday. Mm-hmm. And I have to commend you on your breath support.
Thanks.
Yes. Very impressed as a singer with those phrasings and not taking a breath. I was like, yep, I would have been out of air by the end of that one.
Honestly, it's
very good.
First off, thank you. And secondly, I was just going to say that was like years of teen angst coming back, like just practice.
Oh, I could tell. I was feeling it.
Like, I was like, there was, muscle memory took over at that point.
Yeah, I loved it. I was like, I'm vibing to this. This is great.
All right, should we do an official intro? I guess we could. Welcome to the Magical Mommy Monday podcast. I'm Jen, here with my co-host Angela.
Hi.
And we have 2 very special guests with us today. We have Counselor Dan and Counselor Matt from Camp Stores. Welcome, guys.
Hello, friends.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here. Can you give us a little background on each of you? Who are you? Where did you come from?
Yeah, who are you? Why are you on this podcast today?
Man, I did just get off my therapist call. So.
It's very existential.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm his therapist.
True.
If you want to go over that, we can do that here too. I mean, either whatever you guys want to talk about.
Let's get it
my name's Matt. I have a background in improvisational interactive theater and stuff, and also extensive experience in retail, which is weird to go hand in hand, but it's a thing. And finding Camp Stores was kind of like the hybrid of both of those skill sets. That's basically me. I think I make music. I do theater. I am nerd of all things.
I don't know about like a nerd of all things. We also have to interrupt here that if you've heard the intro and outro to the Magical Mommy Monday podcast, that is composed by Matt Harvey, like we say on every episode.
It's very Spaceship Earth, Epcot,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I'm a very big fan of it. Also, I feel like if you've done drama, you've done retail. They very much go hand in hand.
Oh my God. They
You're
do.
saying that? I'm like, hey, that's me too. Wow. All right. And Dan,
Hello.
who are you? Tell us.
My name is Dan. Born here in New York. Haven't really left. Haven't gone anywhere. I am primarily, I would say, a singer-songwriter. What was I going to say? That being said, like on the work side of things, definitely have had like multiple retail jobs. Have also like worked in startups. Have also worked in the restaurant space. And so it's weird. And this is not a dig at any of those industries. They're all somewhat performative in nature. And so that definitely carries over. And I was fortunate enough to, it's funny, the way that I found camp actually was that I worked for a company, I shan't name them, but I was playing music for kids basically. And the one of the co-founders, her son was enrolled in these classes and then offered me the gig with camp. And then it's sort of grown into this, as Matt can attest, this like super mega hybrid of like a bunch of different roles. And like, we're both wearing hats right now for the listeners who can't tell, but there's multiple hats that are worn here at camp. So yeah.
And sometimes wigs.
Yeah.
I've seen them in your music videos.
Yeah, I feel like I have been watching the growth of camp a little bit because, full disclosure, everybody, Matt and I kind of knew each other before this interview, but Matt and I go way back. I don't know how far back, but
At least a decade.
yeah. So Matt is pretty much besties with Frank, who, Matt, you should know, Angela is an unofficial Cardillo. So we have brought her into the family. She's a little too much like us, so she's in. But I feel like because following, we've been friends on social media, and I'm also friends with Nora on social media. So just seeing this, where I feel like it kind of started as this small thing you guys were doing, and then the more I see about it, I'm like, what is happening? Wait, what is this? Have I been missing out on what is going on over there? So how did it all start?
For me, I got a job that I didn't want, and my first day was someone's last day. And she was like, "You're perfect for this new place I'm about to go to. Here's an email." So I sent an email to one of the owners, Nikki. She's our people and cultures chief. And, I got a job there. She was like, "Hey, I don't have any hours for you, but we like you. Do you want to start?" And I was like, "Sure. Okay." So I started this job that was basically 15 hours a week, a retail job. And I didn't want to work retail anymore because I've had like lots of management experience and such. And, after having worked retail several times and whatever, you're like, never again.
Yeah.
But this felt different. It felt like a marriage of a lot of the things that I love and not a lot of the things that I don't like. So I was like, okay, let's try it out. And then, a few months later, they had a leadership change, and I was that leadership change. They were like, "Hey, you have a set of skills that don't usually come together. Let's see what happens here." Yeah. And so my journey there was I became the GM of the flagship store on Fifth Avenue, and we were crushing it. Dan has always been a significant contributor to that team. And there's a lot of people who say that there is magic in the camp store, and a lot of the magic, all of the magic comes from the team that works there. And so, both of us bring different things that you don't usually find in a retail store. And so it kind of started taking off a bit. And then we started scaling, we opened more locations, and then the COVID happened.
Yeah. And
so I remember when COVID happened, I was like looking at dairy that was in the refrigerator of the cafe in camp. And I was like, May 27th, this will be good by the time we reopen. I was way wrong. When I went back in July to the store, I got to pour out some cottage cheese. So it just goes to show you that the COVID-19 coronavirus thing has taken way longer than I think any of us anticipated that it would. We kind of reopened outside at Camp on Fifth Avenue over the summertime last year and did like soft opens of some of the stores and stuff. And then we did a craft cafe outside, which was awesome for the kids in the neighborhood. And at some point, Ben, our owner, came to me and was like, "Hey, we're going to start an editorial team because we think that people are not really coming to the store right now because, COVID.
Yeah.
And so like, we're going to start an editorial team. Do you want to, I think you can contribute to that and help us expand our reach and help scale the magic. And so, so I joined the editorial team and started writing articles, and they kind of did the same deal with Dan.
Yeah. So really quick, just to also touch on what you said earlier, Jen, like, I feel like it's happening to a lot of businesses. There's sort of like this sort of like, for those of you who are listening, you can't see, but I'm making like this weird wiggly gesture with my hands. We're basically, there's this sort of like limbo space that I think a lot of businesses were operating in during the first, I would say, couple months of COVID, because you have like this, it was, I don't know about both of you, but for me, it went from like, we'll just, quarantine for 2 weeks or shut down for 2 weeks. And then that stretched into like a month. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, mentally, I told myself by the summer, it'll be fine. Like almost approached it with a sort of like the rationale of like back to school. I was like, it'll be fine. Like during the
Well, it's what we all thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of had, and it was weird. It's like you use like these, it's not to get like technical, but like we use like these frames of reference. So you're like, we haven't gone through this. What's like the closest thing that we can kind of have?
Right.
But so during that point too, it's like once again, I don't think camp is the only business doing this, but there's been a lot of pivoting. And so Jen, when you're like, should I be paying attention to this? Like, it's like, it's all literally happening in real time too. So like, we're kind of sort of just as like, like what is going on? Near and far. And yeah, just to touch really quick on like what Matt said, like when I started at camp, I was actually the first employee, which was like really fun.
Nice.
And at the time, like I was working at I was working at a company where I was like playing music for kids, etc. And I was also building like a solo music career, which was actually kind of taking off, like knock on the wood. And so camp really, like it was definitely like a lovely family experience for me, that I just love being around the families and like kids and playing music and all that jazz. And also just being in the store. And for those of you listeners who are unfamiliar with camp and who are probably Googling it right now.
I was just going to ask. I'm like,
that was going to be our next question.
You'll probably come upon, I think that you'll come upon like a popular BuzzFeed article that pops up because like there's lots of GIFs and images that sort of display what the store is. But part of the reason why I got tapped in the first place was that there's a really cool section of the store called the Experience. So you sort of walk in and you go into what's called like the canteen. And it's supposed to like resemble a sort of like, like old timey general store, like howdy partner, And then like right next to it, you'll have like a cafe where there's snacks and like little accoutrement for the nuggets and the families that come through. But then
caffeine,
caffeine, the lifeblood, if you will. And then the whole draw of the store was that we actually had like a magic door built into the canteen. It's disguised as a bookshelf. And so when customers and families would open the door, it would reveal the remainder of our store, which was called the Experience. And the Experience is like, it had pretty much like all of our like amazing fun products and also interactive sections of the store where kids could play around and occupy themselves and parents could like engage with them. And there was a theater section where we would host like arts and crafts activities and like, music shows. That's why I sort of came on. And like, we had puppet shows and magic shows. And eventually it came to a time too, where we were doing birthday parties there. And so it was becoming sort of like a new hub. And yeah, I just remember that like once quarantine happened, because we were sort of like, we were pushing through. We had just made it through like our second sort of like, our second year as the store. Like we had just finished Black Friday and all that stuff. And in retail years, that's like, we did it. And then it's like the rest of the next couple months after that are sort of like ice bath. And you're like, where do we go from here, guys?
Right.
And then, COVID struck. But since then it was, I was fortunate enough to also be tapped as one of the people that were like, hey, like we want to keep you on in some capacity, but we are pivoting and we don't really know what shape that's going to take yet. So I joined their editorial team. Like Matt mentioned, we started writing articles, and then Matt actually pitched the idea for Music Monday. And our boss was, I don't know if he was just overwhelmed with slacks at the time, and he was just like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like all we needed was like the yay, and then it was off to the races.
Made it happen.
Yeah.
The first two songs I wrote for it actually came from a meeting where it was actually happening in live. Our managing editor, Siobhan, her daughter was stealing her tablet from behind her. And she's like, I see you sneaking off with the tablet. And that's literally how sneaking off the tablet happened.
Yeah.
You're not fooling anyone.
Yeah, we see you. We see you. And then the other song that we wrote that hasn't come out yet is called My Butt Hurts.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
isn't that the truth though? Like how much sitting are we doing schoolwork on Zoom?
The amount of preparation H that we have.
No, not that kind. The other kind. Before we get more into your music, what kind of products are you selling? And I believe they're on the website too, right?
Yeah, there's some stuff on the website. It's actually a way more robust assortment than it previously was. Before the COVID happened to the world, camp.com was primarily support for the stores. Like it could give you all the information, like hours, what is it, etc. And there was like a little bit of an assortment, but now they've made it more robust. And like we have stuff from a lot of we have making considerate what's the word I'm looking for? Or make a concerted effort. That's the word. Concerted effort to align with a lot of Black-owned businesses, women-owned businesses. Like we're really trying to make sure that we have a great assortment from everyone. So there's stuff like lots of books, green toys. We have this Zoe doll that's awesome. There's anything you want to find, you can find on camp.com. And we have articles to support it. Like if you're looking for a toy truck for a kid, just type in toy trucks. You'll get an article with the best top 10 toy trucks. And if we don't sell it directly, like we have affiliate links and stuff too. So if we don't carry it, but Amazon does, there's a link directly there. So we're trying to really marry the idea of product and play, but in the digital space as well as in the physical space, in the retail atmosphere of the store.
Is this primarily like toys or STEM or adult? Like what kind of product?
So yeah, it's I was gonna say primarily like we are a toy store, like 100% like get your, come get your Lego fix if you need it. However, like the cool thing about the store is that, I mean, there's a bunch of cool things really, and like we could spend the rest of the hour talking about it, but camp doesn't necessarily skew from any, like it doesn't skew in any particular way or age group. So like we have products starting as early as like 6 months. Like we've got like a mommy and me section for babies. And that also like that ranges from like plush toys to teethers. It's like, we know your kid's gonna start growing the teeth. Let's go. Like there's also like we have toys, like we've got books, we've got toys starting from like 2 and up.
There's an assortment of STEM toys. We're very concerned with making sure that a lot of the toys skew to the educational edge of things as well as just play. There's also it's everywhere. There's a boutique.
The selection, to it. The entire selection has a purpose, and actually, which sort of ties into the next thing is that like for all those listening as well, like the cool thing about camp, and probably like what is in my opinion kind of going to be like the future of like brick and mortar, is that the experience portion of our store actually changed after like, I would say like, what is it, 8 to 12 weeks? Yeah. So basically once again, for those listening, the first theme that we started out with was called Base Camp. And it was just meant like, imagine like Stranger Things, like that sort of 80s sort of campground style. There's like AstroTurf on the ground everywhere. There was like a station wagon that kids could go inside of.
Basketball hoop and a slide and bunk disco room.
And like the cool thing is like, that was because that was so general in its scope. We just had like a smorgasbord of products, right? But the next theme that we ended up having was something called Cooking Camp. And so like, by default, some of our products that were a bit more about like, culinary, anything culinary.
Right. You can promote those.
Yeah. And
so,
also the one last thing is that there's also like a bunch of cool stuff for like adults, like you could go there. I feel like it's the perfect place to shop for a sort of like white elephant, like sort of grab bag type of gift. Like, I don't know you that well, Bob, but it's your last day. So
here's the whose poop is this game.
Yeah. But those are the fun ones that people always enjoy when you have parties.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we used to, in the store, we like to say that you can shop for your whole family there.
Right.
So that's awesome.
So you started the music videos. How has the response been?
Overwhelmingly positive. I kind of just made one and we kind of ran with the style, which is me making a bunch of doodles and putting it in front of a green screen. Replace like keying out chroma key out the green screen, and we put in our all the cartoon environments and stuff. And it just kind of works. I mean, people are, the response we've gotten. We had one lady write into us that she's I don't know if I can say this, but she's a grown ass adult and sneaking off with the tablet is her new favorite song.
Nice.
We've had a lot of people reach out and say, you know, like, we appreciate you guys making songs that aren't going to drive us, you know.
That was the big thing. Yeah, because it's like, oh my God. So speaking as somebody who was like, I have like a sort of side hustle as like a child musician, like before COVID struck, it's like every other weekend there'd be a birthday party and you'd churn out the greatest hits. And then the moment like Baby Shark comes on, every parent was like, I need a refill. And
oh my gosh.
One of those things that it was super important to us to make music that's amusing to us, catchy, and also like bearable for parents. And I also think that like, once again, as camp is getting better at its like digital pivot, so to speak, like so is the social media stuff, the social media side of it. And so in regards to response and positivity, I think it's getting bigger and it's growing, which is great.
Yeah, our retention rate is very good and growing. You know, like people tune in and then they tune in the next week too.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
As far as your songs and like you mentioned Baby Shark, I heard a trap version of it the other day and I'm like, this is like, I guess we've just come full circle now. Like we've hit every genre, like we can't go anywhere else now. You know, I listened to your Clean Your Room song, which very relatable to high school Angela. and then your rainbow one, it was like In the Rainbow or something. It was just like a very, I don't know, I found it really calming for some reason. And with kids music, you know, sometimes they just kind of get stuck in your head in a bad way. But your songs don't do that. They're very enjoyable for grown-ups to listen to. I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, I think just really quickly, like in terms about the music stuff, we also like, since we both make music outside of work, it's definitely, you know how everybody's like, oh, I want to do a job that mixes my passion and like I can make a living off of. And like the moment we got the okay for this, we were like,
it's time.
Come on, let's go.
So it's not something that we were gonna sort of like put half effort into or anything like that. So like it's funny. You know, there's demos traded back and forth. We have like whole sessions where it's like, what's the melody? What's the melody? Just like arrangements, like mixing and all that stuff. And you know, but yeah, we're happy with what's been coming out.
Some of it's like it takes a while to write them, and then some of them just kind of happen. And that's, I think, the magic of making the music. And, you know, I'm glad that you're not annoyed by that.
I'm just always so impressed with people who can put words and melody into a song. And I don't know, I'm just very impressed with you two. Good job.
Really appreciate it. Really quick side tangent, whatever. That the first article that I had written for camp for the editorial team was actually how to write a good children's song. And then our boss, Tanner, was like, shout out to Tanner. He was like, this may work better as like a video thing. We'll table it. But one big thing that's been super helpful in this process is like, not only does it happen a lot in kids songs, but also pop songs. Like it's usually like 3 to 4 notes that you're like only 3 to 4 notes that you're singing. So if you ever get overwhelmed and you're like, I want to try doing this, all you really need are like 3 to 4 notes repeated ad nauseum. And then
and then a bridge.
To go. Yeah, really. Yeah. That's literally it. Yeah.
And similar thing with me, like one of the first articles I wrote was how to make your own holiday. And with how to make your own holiday, you have to also make your own carols, right? Like your own holiday themed songs. So I took 20 minutes and made this song called Every Day. And they're like, this song's amazing. Why?
It's really good.
We didn't like, we knew you made music, but we didn't know. So then they suggested like, hey, maybe you and Dan should make like a music show. You're both very good at doing music. And then it locked into my head. So then I was like, hey guys, can we do music Mondays? And they were like, yeah, okay.
I think it's really, it's funny because I think that I've been in a couple of startup situations before where it's just like a lot of ideas sort of don't make it past like the ideation.
Thinky phase.
Like the think, they don't make it beyond. It's like you open the door and they're like, oh. Yeah. And so when Music Monday, like when it got pitched, I was super excited and I was like, this is going to be awesome. But I was very apprehensive. And then like we had a team meeting one week. And then once again, our boss Tanner was like, okay, so we have the format ready. We're all good to go. Yeah. We have a start date. And I was like,
we do.
And so, yeah, it's been really cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. I feel like with this podcast, we've gotten to meet some children performers that we probably would never have talked to otherwise, and some that I didn't even know about beforehand. And I feel like this wave of let's make kids music that adults like too, and that aren't the same old, I love that there's that change happening with children's music. And I love that you guys are a part of it.
One of the coolest things about getting to write these songs is not that we get to make music for kids, but that we kind of get to highlight the extraordinary in every day.
Yeah.
You know, like, so there's an endless well of inspiration because you just go like, what do you do every day?
Yeah.
Like, this is the crossing guard song. I see the crossing guard every day. Hi. Like, that's extraordinary. And we get to, we literally walk by the crossing guard every day.
Yeah.
Bath time happens very frequently.
There's also the aspect of like being songwriters. I can't really speak to Matt's process, but I know that for mine too. Like, I sometimes like labor over a song like for a month or 2 months. And I'm like, I'll never find the right word. But then like when it comes down to like, oh, we're gonna write a song about pizza, done. And like it kind of lets me be a kid again in terms of like, I don't have to overthink this at all. And especially in today's increasingly complex life situation and the worldview, it's like, oh, I would love to do things that are simple. Like, what?
Yeah. Well,
also the barrier of entry is way lower by technology.
Oh yeah. No, so true. And if you figure that kids learn through music, they can learn so much. It's an entry to math and reading and everything. And you're writing about everyday things. I mean, really, you're making kids everywhere smarter. So, I mean, good job on you.
Nobel Committee. Hello.
I mean, you should like get your professor certificate right now.
Right.
My honorary doctorate. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Exactly. From wherever you want.
Yeah.
So you guys do the music. Do you have any help with the music videos or editing or anything like that?
This is a hilarious question. You go for it, Matt. You go for it.
It's just us.
Yeah.
We write the
lot.
Dan does most of the mixing on the music end. I make all of the drawings and the cartoons in the background. Yeah. We shoot the videos in my apartment in front of a green screen. I key everything out. You should have seen us fighting with the lights several times. So, we have to kind of become experts on everything. We are the production team, directors. We write the scripts. When we first started the series,
When
we first started the series, we were doing intros and outros, and we're still trying to figure out like what the proper formula is for it.
Yeah.
Because we want it to have as much impact as possible, as fast as possible, because we're competing with all of the noise that's on the internet.
Yeah.
And so we started it out giving context to the songs with like an intro, outro, little skit thing, and a lot of those would come from like Dan would write a script, or I would come up with like, okay, here's a framework that I think will work.
And then we would riff.
Yeah. Then we kind of improv through it. Something that Jen knows about me is that I come from an improv background, and I've worked extensively with Frank, and we've done improvisational music shows where we make up a whole musical on the spot, which is nuts. And then, we kind of used to build our shows through kind of riffing through an idea, taking the greatest hits from that idea, the different riff turns, and then making a script out of it. Yeah. And so, we are everything. We do it all.
It's really
for everything.
Perhaps. Yes.
Everything.
It's really funny because I'm sure it's like not the most appropriate show to mention on this podcast. Maybe, I don't know, and maybe perhaps we can bleep it out. But like, it always stuck out to me. There's a mini documentary on the making of South Park episodes and how once the show comes out, like I think on Saturday or something, like the next day they're in the room and they're like, okay, we have a week to write a new show.
Yeah.
And like, it's like the writing, the editing, the drafting, the voice recording, the hiring the other actors, any additional work, and then boom, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's definitely been, oh my God, talk about like learning curve. Like,
yeah.
I remember like after a couple, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks in, I was like, I'm gonna buy every book possible about like music production things and like mixing and things like that. And the same with Matt. Like Matt was like downloading like various video programs, and he was like, all right, gotta learn how to do this, gotta learn.
I'm not a video editor, but I'm doing it.
Yeah.
No,
jumped in. Yeah.
Jen is trying to get me back on YouTube. I did YouTube for another company for like 6 years. And it's why I stopped, because it's so much work. You just get burned out after a while. It's so nice that you guys have both of you though, because you can split up the work, and then you can put your creativity together, and the result is really positive from, you know, the response you're getting and the things that I've seen. So, I mean, you're making it work and you're doing a good job.
Actually mentioned, he was like, let's do like an acoustic album of all the songs.
There you go.
And I was like, can we also slow them down and turn ballads?
Well, here's the thing. The reason I got inspired by that is because the End of the Rainbow song, you know, we have this wonderfully lush produced track. And when we were recording it, because, you know, we're recording as we write the songs because there's no time. And Dan's an amazing guitarist, and he just pulls out the old Mini Taylor and starts going in on the song. And I'm singing it to just the acoustic guitar. And there's something so lovely about just the organic sounds that exist and just like letting it breathe. And that's, I mean, I've heard this and I kind of believe it too, but you know, a good song when you can just strip it down to like just a vocal and guitar, just a vocal and piano. Like, look at Adele. She'll shut down the Grammys with just standing in front of a piano.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Also, I think that just to really quick also add on to the sort of the DIY-ness too. The one thing that I had I had faith in, because like Matt, for example, like both of our skills have definitely, I guess, improved. But like at the outset when I was like, this isn't who I am. And then Matt was like, this isn't who I am. And then sort of like picking up those skills on the fly. The thing that like always sort of comforted me or like helped me to not get stressed out was the fact that like, if the message is good, doesn't matter how it's presented. I think, and it's like a song, I've heard it as a songwriter adage, but it's like, it can go for anything. It's like, you can have a really good song and have the production around it be terrible, but it can still reach an audience because it's a good song. But you can't take a bad song and like wrap it in like tin foil and gold and just be like, here you go, like this.
Right.
Like people will see straight through it. And I think that we were just so excited to make something that was like honest and nice and just like enjoyable. So yeah,
it's one of the best parts about doing it every Monday is that we give people something to look forward to.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I certainly look forward to, you know, throwing it out to the world. I mean, Dan can tell you know, one of the things Angela said is that it's great that we have each other to kind of, you know, pass things back and forth. And, you know, after, 12 hours of fiddling with videos, it's good to say, hey, Dan, before I send it to the team, what do you think of this? And then he has fresh eyes on it. He's never seen it before. So he's like, oh, move this here, move that there. What if we had something else here? Because this feels a little monotonous. And then I make that happen and send it. And, you know, it's great rather than just doing it.
Yeah, because you have to walk away sometimes because you just get so like in the zone with all the details that it gets to be too much and you don't even know what you're looking at after a while. But you need the fresh eyes. Yeah.
I bet it never gets old hitting that publish button and then waiting to see what everyone's gonna think. That's the most exciting part.
Yeah.
There's been things where like I get like a little worried about something, like is it the edge or of appropriateness? Because I don't like we don't know. Like I freaked out because of the pizza guys. We have a song called Pizza Night, and I'm like, are we going to get in trouble for this? Is somebody going to be offended? And they were like, no.
Yeah.
Realistically, someone's always going to be offended.
Right.
So you can't ever win.
Exactly.
But especially like in the, you know, in the family space, you know, I feel like the parameters are even more closed.
Yes.
So you know, we do pay careful attention to those things. Like there's a video where I hit Dan in the face with a sponge.
He was freaking out. He was like, we don't want to promote violence. And I was like, it's funny. Like, I gave you consent, friend.
Yeah. You should see what kids do with a water balloon.
Yeah. But I woke up at 5:30 in the morning and animated a version of the video where there's bubbles over my arm. It just looks like he's being slapped with bubbles. Because I was afraid that we were, you know, that some kid was going to watch it and go, oh, it's cool to hit people in the face with bubbles, which is not a realistic thing at all. It's just
No, it's not going to hurt you.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure that there have been times. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think you're about to say what I was going to say, so it's okay.
I feel like weren't there times that like I'm sure like in the editing phase of your podcast or just like coming up with questions, you're like, is this, what are we?
Oh yeah.
Literally every episode.
And we'll go off on tangents a lot. And a lot of those tangents, I'm like, no.
Do I need to include this swear word?
Yeah.
Should I have said this? Will people get offended?
Yeah. I think I come across this way, and that's not what I intend, but someone will see it that way. We have to take that out. Yeah.
So question, what is next for the music videos, for camp? I mean, we're kind of at the point where we're all getting vaccinated and so things are opening back up a little more. So what's next?
There's always exciting things on the docket for camp. We've got a lot of nice activations and sponsorships and partnerships and stuff that we do. We're seeing traffic increase in the stores again, which is a wonderful thing to see. And even better than seeing traffic go up is to see the kids happy and playing. Like so many families have been cooped up inside for a long time. So like watching a kid get on a pony cycle and ride around the store, go down the slide and yeah, you did it, and get to like share that excitement with another kid is really awesome. Just this past Saturday, we did an activation with a bank called Ally, and they did for Financial Literacy Month, they did a store takeover where it was a free of charge event where families could come, and there was 5 modules, and they could paint a piggy bank, and then they could sell it to whoever was the moderator of the module, and they would give them little paper coins and like, I'll give you $3 for it. And they're like, what about 5 though? And they're like, okay, 5, but that's the top of my budget. And they give them the $5 coin. And then at the end of them doing their whole thing, they get to go to the register and buy a toy with those little coins.
That's awesome.
So it teaches them like the value of their work, not exactly the value, but that your work has value, and that you do that in exchange for these things. And it was a lovely thing to do, and it was free, and it was a thing that once again families could do together.
Right.
We like to say that our mission is answering the question, what should we do today?
Yeah.
And usually we tack on as a family, but what can we do today? So there's a lot of those things popping up. We have an adventure club series that we do virtually online, also free of charge. Families can just sign up for it and do a virtual adventure. They're starting to bring back the arts and crafts in the stores and in the theater space that Dan mentioned. Some of the stuff that led to virtual experiences are now becoming hybrid experiences. So like, we have a series called We're in a Book, and it's kind of a game where they take a book from in the store and they make an interactive game out of it and do like an arts and crafts and stuff. And you can do that in the store, or we have like celebrity authors come on and they read the book while the kids are in the store doing a thing. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
So, so neat.
It's so cool to see that stuff starting to come back and to see some of the like, as our platform grows, so does our partnerships and sponsorships with other places too. And like watching that community kind of build is really cool. So, to answer your question, there's a lot of stuff always happening. There may or may not be new locations opening up soon, which is awesome to be back in that mode, or not. I
think at the very least, like there's definitely also going to be a lot more intention between like also advancing other parts of the digital experience as well too, because it's like we also, for example, we have like the virtual events like Adventure Club, but there's also birthday parties that are available online, digital, just like virtual events and digital content. And like admittedly, or in my humble opinion rather, I think that's how you're going to reach your larger audience. Case in point, there was one instance where I think there was a child that visited one of our stores. I think this was in Texas, and unknowing, like the store didn't know that they were a TikTok star, and they posted something about the store, and then the next thing you know, like traffic flourished. And so there's definitely like this understanding that, okay, we're going to broaden our horizons as a brand, so we also have to be intentional about like growing the digital landscape that we have.
Yeah, we're also trying to change the relationship with that people have with online shopping, because online shopping is boring. So we're trying to create innovative ways to make that more of an engaging, interactive experience. Over the holidays, we launched what we call the White Elephant, which I know a lot of families play White Elephant during the holidays, but we turned it into a digital game so that you could play with your family and not have to be in the same space.
Oh, that's so clever.
Companies signed on for as well. So they were like, we want to do this for our holiday party. And we ended up going down that route. And it's really like gamifying the shopping experience.
Yeah.
Which, is it devious and mischievous? And
maybe, but is it working?
Like, it's working. And also I think that in terms of like for families, once again, like that's the question. It's like, you want your family experience to be fun, and the things that you're doing as a family to be fun. So yeah.
In the market, we like to go by the Rachel Sheckman 3 C's, the content, community, commerce kind of thing. Those 3 C's together, that's the wrong order, but that's the 3 C's. And then like as far as content, I know that I go by the 3 E's, which is entertaining, engaging, or educational. And if you marry those 3 things, or if you have just one, like you're doing well by the world. And so I believe our brand does all those things all the time, the 3 C's, the 3 E's. And as far as Music Monday, there may or may not be an album once we're done with our season.
Love it.
And I don't know. I guess we can say this, but because like the editorial team has actually this is a good platform. They recently posted a role as a video editor, and so for a video editor rather. So they're definitely looking to expand that content and like hopefully in the for a future season of Music Monday, so to speak, as well as we have other series called Camp Kitchen, where there's recipes and things like that are.
Oh, I loved that section on your website. I was looking at like the pineapple Alfredo. I'm like,
It's delicious, right?
And it's stuff that kids and parents can do together, which is so important because there's so many picky eaters out there. But I find that if you make the kid cook with you, they're more willing to try the food.
Absolutely.
That's a brilliant section. I was really pleased about that.
So there's more of that. There's more arts and crafts. Camp Crafts is also, we're doing videos. We're probably going to get into some unboxing stuff, some product reviews, kid reviews.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter what I think of the thing. It matters what 9-year-old Timothy thinks.
Right. Does the kid like it?
Yeah. Do kids like it? What is this? So we're definitely expanding into more personality driven and like unique perspective area of the world there.
Well, and that's huge with brands is like consumers want to feel connected to the brand. And having a person on camera, like that's a great way to do it. Plus they know, well, if this kid likes the toy and that kid's my grandson's age, I bet my grandson would like that toy. So I think that's going to work out really well for you.
I'm excited to see what we do. Because like we don't even know what else is cooking. Like we know some of it, but we don't see the full picture. And our owner is primarily an inventor,
Oh, cool.
So
that's really cool.
So he's an idea guy. You got an idea, it could happen.
No, that's awesome. I love it. I love all the creativity. I mean, it's amazing how much what's being thought about, what's already happened, and how you've managed to kind of go with the flow, especially throughout COVID, and you made it work and you're still making it work. Since this episode is dropping on May 3rd, which is a Music Monday, can you tell us the next video?
It will have to be a surprise.
It's
just we can sort of thing, but I think it's one of those things where it's like you'll have to tune in to find out.
Well, then a good segue, I would say, is why don't you tell us where everyone can find you on social media and your own social media handles if you want to.
Yes,
of course. Instagram at Camp Stores on the IG, which is also the home of Music Monday. IGTV, it's on there. There's also a playlist under Camp on YouTube where you can find all the Music Monday songs in a row. I would also encourage people to check out on the website. Every Monday we post an actual article like showcasing what the episode is about. And also you get introduced to the wonderful world of camp through the digital camp.com. So lots of places you can find it.
Yeah, there's no formal like Spotify footprint yet or anything like that where the music can be streamed like consecutively, but that is on the docket. So yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah,
it's coming.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys for being on.
It's so fun.
Thank you for having us, and I've sent you guys presents.
What? Presents?
What
the what? I'm excited.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to give us a review on iTunes if you'd like. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. All of those handles are going to be at the end of this episode. We hope you're having a great day, night, whatever you are doing, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Magical Mommy Monday podcast. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Magical Mommy Monday. You can also follow us on Twitter at Magic Mom Monday. The music in this episode was produced by one of our guests today, Matt Harvey. We'll see you next time.